that kind of thing. But if grandma's not here illegally either, well, it doesn't make any difference. You send her down to the DMV and get her a license or an ID card, and nothing is verifiable anymore. But of course, the left tells us that we're just, radical, right-wing extremists, paranoid. There's no such thing as voter fraud.
Come on, John. Nothing's verifiable. The Iranian nuclear deal is supposed to be verifiable, John.
That's right.
So we should probably take a break.
Yeah. 6,951,000 people in 28 states, duplicate voter registrations in more than one state. Wow.
Awesome.
And we don't have a problem. And just this one last shot here. Barack Obama won the election in 2012 by 5 million votes. Ba-ba, ba-ba. Okay. All right, guys, we got to go do a break. We'll be back. Stay with us right here on the Conservative Syndicate. You can catch all our show archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Attention taxpayers. If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you'll get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted financial expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known and syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live, every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time, firsthand, from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Bob airs live every Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on blogtalkradio.com/Robert Cardoso Live, or you can choose any one of his archive shows at blogtalkradio.com/Robert Cardoso Live. That's blogtalkradio.com/Robert Cardoso Live. For complete and honest commentary on politics, finances, and culture, check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. Hey, we are back right here on the Conservative Syndicate. I am your host, John Matthews, and I have with me my co-host, Joe Hakos from Dryer Report. And I guess let's jump into what our topic of discussion for tonight. Of course, our president is now out there claiming once again that he has done not only the impossible, but the pragmatic. Here's a, I don't know, probably one of the most extreme ideologues that we've ever had in the White House. And everything he does is pragmatic. Everything he does is centralist. Everything he does is for the good of the country. And everything he does is because he thinks it's the right thing to do. And in spite of all the history that we have, contrary to what he happens to believe, and that is that some of these Middle East countries, like the Iranian regime, are people to be negotiated with, that they're people to be trustworthy, and capable of change. That's an important aspect. And it's not that the United States is necessarily wrong, although he has always tried to paint the United States as oppressors. It's just that we just haven't had the right American doing it. And he just happens to be that guy.
He's the guy, yes.
Yeah,
there's a track record, though, John.
What's that?
The Iranians have a track record. It's not a good one, but it's a track record.
Yeah.
You know, the same, but
well,
Brock says they can change.
That's right. That's right. And we know how well that's worked because he just also recently lifted the embargo off of Cuba.
Yes.
And we know how well that's working.
Yes. We had a reset with Russia, and that's working out really well.
Yep. And not to mention all the other quote unquote relationships that he has over in the Middle East, that now all the people that maybe just a year ago today could have been included in that coalition, as they like to use, the word they like to use, are now fighting the very people or plotting against the very people that Obama's sitting at the table with making a deal.
Yeah, it's amazing how that's working out. The Saudis are launching ground attacks and air attacks in Yemen. It's pretty, but Yemen is the showcase of the Obama foreign policy and how we're dealing with terrorists throughout the world.
That's right. So we have our president telling us, according to Julie Pace, I'm looking at Julie Pace's article in the Associated Press, that Obama is defending and I like the way he put it the other day, the inevitable critics. I just know people are going to criticize me. Of course, he's referring to anybody on the right side of the aisle, or in the case of the rhinos, anybody in the middle of the aisle, everybody pacing up and down the aisle, trying to figure what side they're actually on. And he's out there trying to convince us that the deal that he made with Iran is just the best possible thing that could be happening at this point in time. She writes in here that President Barack Obama staunchly defended a framework nuclear agreement with Iran as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to prevent a bomb and bring longer-term stability to the Middle East. Now, we know how well that's working out right now.
Longer-term stability, that would be more than, 3 or 4 days?
Yeah. The ceasefires that they have. The ceasefires means we'll quit using rocket propellers and we'll start using suicide bombers.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, kind of thing.
We'll get on public transportation.
Yeah. He says he insisted the U.S. would stand by Israel if it were to come under attack, but acknowledged that his pursuit of diplomacy with Tehran has caused strain with the close eye. I think it's a little stronger than caused strain.
Strain. Yes, just a little bit more than just a slight tug.
I think it's a little bit more than a strain, Mr. President, when you send your campaign people over there to campaign against the guy you're supposed to be friends with.
Yeah. The sitting leader of that country. Yes. Why would he be pissed?
So anyway, he's telling us that now here's the point we want to make as we get into these discussions over the next several weeks or months or however long it takes for this deal to fall apart. Because if all you have to do is listen to the tone of the people speaking on Iran's behalf, the tone of their words. Even though their English isn't that great, all you got to do is pick up the tone of their words. And the tone of their words is something like this. Sucker.
Well, it's not only sucker, but death to America, suckers.
Yeah, you guys are so...
You too, Israel. Death to you too.
You stupid infidels. Everything we say about you's got to be true. You got to be dumber than rocks to think that we really care about what you think. And especially in terms of looking at Israel and all those other things that are going on.
The fact sheets are working off of, John. They got their fact sheet that they're telling their people, and then we have what this administration is telling us. They're not quite matching up, John.
No, they aren't. In fact, I found it kind of remarkable. As you gauge the way the media reports something, and I'm not always keen anymore on what the media's objective is, because they have one of two paths they walk. One is everything Obama does is divine, it's divine intervention through divine revelation, or everything Obama does sucks. And usually when they start writing about everything Obama does that sucks, it's only to suck the rest of us in
so that they can then turn around and start pointing about how much worse we are.
Yes.
Okay? So it's never really a totally objective outlook on what he's doing. It's either we got to really sell this good bill of goods to the people, or we need to begin to set up the targets of the opposition.
Yeah.
So that we
play
can
these people again.
Yeah, so we can neutralize them once they start to speak their opinion, and God forbid, start to present some facts that are contrary to what the president is saying. So, but one of the articles, I think that 2 days after this thing was talked about over the White House over the weekend.
Over the weekend, mm-hmm.
I saw within a matter of an hour like 4 or 5 articles pop up in the media about whether or not Obama was even telling us the truth. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it amazing?
Well, John, I can't understand why people would not believe the man.
Yeah.
I mean, he only had what they call the lie of the year.
Well, I've heard people talk in the past about, one of the things I heard from the leftist critics out there that, like to come after me whenever I make a statement about something. And the first thing they wanted to do was draw parallels between Reagan's deals and Obama. Well, Reagan made this deal and it wasn't that great, and he did this and that wasn't that great. So why are you already attacking Obama when you don't even know what's going to happen? I said, well, Obama has a history also, and his history is that nothing he touches turns to gold. Everything turns to crap.
That and the fact he lies.
Yeah, and that's the one thing we can say about somebody like Reagan or somebody like that, excluding the Iran-Contra deal, which every government, every administration, I'm not going to defend that. Every administration's got some little deal that's going on in the background, that they're not telling the American people about. But the point being is that Reagan didn't have any motivation for coming out really and saying, hey, guys, I just made a great deal. And by the way, it's a great deal because I say it's a great deal. He allowed everybody to look at it. He allowed everybody to say what they believed about it. He took it before Congress. He did everything that way. This president does everything and then comes out and expects everybody just to agree with him. And then if they don't,
he says, trust me.
Yeah, then they are the problem. If you don't agree with me, this is what Obama's saying. If Congress undoes this, then it's our fault that it falls apart. Okay, so it's once again putting that leverage out there, making the Republicans feel, hey, if you guys do anything to oppose me, you do anything to stop what I'm doing, you're going to bear the brunt of the blame, because I've done everything that needs to be done. I've perfected this system that I have. I've got everything in place. And yeah, I didn't really need to talk to you about it. I just need you to fund it. I just need your money.
You just need to go along with it and just accept it.
Yeah, just go along with it because you guys are just neocons anyways. I mean,
what do you know?
Ignore the fact that I've gotten this country into more conflicts in 7 years than any other president has. That we're currently in more conflicts because we're not at war. We're in conflicts. We're either in the middle of overseas contingency operations, or we're in negotiations, or we're in conflicts, or we're witnessing conflicts, or we're aiding people in conflicts.
We're aiding our enemies. we're giving arms to the Iranians, John.
I was hearing somewhere that this guy's actually involved us in somewhere around 13 different conflicts since he's come into office. I don't remember any president doing that.
Well, that's what Nobel Peace Prize winners do, John.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well, I'm just saying the deal of a lifetime here.
He won the prize. I don't know if he's giving that money back. I don't know where that money's at. Probably gave it to the Clinton Foundation.
Well, you know what they did? I just along that line. You know the guy that headed the committee for the Nobel Prize?
No, I don't know him personally.
Okay, some Norwegian guy.
Yes.
Okay. They yanked him out of office. They yanked him out of office, and they yanked him out of office specifically because of his dealings with Obama and the Nobel Peace Prize. I read that a couple months ago. It was just one of those 3,000 link articles that are out there. They actually replaced this guy because they just think this guy just really doesn't know what's going on.
That was a bit too much. Besides that, look at the people over, wherever, He said we were going to leave Afghanistan. We're leaving 10,000 troops.